In this video, we're going to talk to you about how to negotiate a merchant portfolio sale. And really, we just want to walk you through step by step what you need to do. Now, Patty, I think we have to start this video by saying go to ccsalespro.com/buyout.
Yes.
That's your very first step because we have a free guide there, the guide to selling your merchant residual portfolio. Just got tons of information there. Read that first.
First and foremost.
Yes, because these videos, we can't really do it justice. We're taking 3 to 5 minutes to give you little tips, but I mean, you got to go through the guide. That's going to give you all the information you need. We really did write it with you in mind to help you. It's from my experience of selling portfolios. Patty's all the research she's done, so definitely take advantage of that. The next step, though, is you got to get some documents in order.
Yeah, that's really important. I mean, you need to have like what you're going to need a spreadsheet, right, for your residual reports.
Yeah, make sure you really want to have 12 months of residual reporting, and you want to have, if you can, you want to have them as a spreadsheet.
Yeah, I think that would be
because
really
it's easy. Let me explain this. So what's going to happen is most of these companies that do buyouts, they're going to take your residual reports and they're going to import them into their system,
right?
And they're going to run a big mathematical calculation to determine the attrition and all that,
right?
So they're going to need it in some kind of a form where they can import it,
right? Because if they're going to have to input it all, forget it.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy.
The other thing, you're going to want your bank statements, right?
Yeah, and the reason you're going to have your bank statements, it's not just any bank statement.
No ones that match the reports.
Yeah,
right?
you've got to show, just because your company says on your reporting that you got $3,500 or whatever,
right?
The buyer is going to want to see that it's in your bank account, the matching deposit amount with the report. They're going to want to see that for sure.
And then I would imagine you're also going to need the a copy of your agent agreement, right?
Sure, because any buyer is going to want to see, are you able to sell your portfolio? Does your ISO have a first right of refusal, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
So once you get all those documents ready to go, now it's time to find a third party and get a bid.
Right.
I mentioned it already, but once you download the guide, if you go to ccsalespro.com/buyout, once you download that free guide, we're going to redirect you right over to a web form and send you an email that's going to give you contact information about, who do Patty and I really trust in the industry, not us, but a third party that does buyouts.
Right.
So we'll recommend somebody that we've worked with. It's actually always going to be a company I've personally worked with and done buyouts and trust.
Right.
And then from there, they'll give you an offer based on everything that you've submitted to them.
And then once, and at this point, let's emphasize again patience.
Yes.
Because even once you get all that information into the prospective buyer,
right,
it's going to take time.
Yeah.
And they need to do their due diligence. And but then once you get that offer in writing,
right,
what's the next step?
Well, so now once you have the offer in writing, usually you do want to go back to your ISO. Even if you like the offer and you're like, okay, this is a good offer, in most cases, you're going to take that offer back to your ISO,
right,
and say, hey, I got this offer from this third party. Do you want to match this offer? Right. So they may have first right of refusal. If they don't, you feel like you got a great offer, go with it. If you know your ISO is not in a position to buy, or you just don't want them to buy because you're afraid they're going to raise the prices on your merchants, or whatever it is.
Or whatever the reason
if you're
is.
looking to totally break ties. But as a general rule, and really most third-party buyers will even tell you that, hey, if your ISO wants to buy the portfolio, we're going to get out of the way. Like, it's just, that's a smoother path.
Right.
A lot of times, probably about half the time, your ISO is not going to have an interest in buying it at all. About half the time, they may have an interest. Some of the time, they're like, they have an interest, but they don't want to give you as good of a deal.
Sure.
So, you're going to probably end up going back to the third party 60, 70% of the time. But you want to take that offer back to the ISO, because what you have to understand is this is not a transaction that's going to happen below the radar.
Right.
Your ISO is going to know about this.
They have to sign off on it.
Yeah, because the very next step is if the ISO says, we'll do it, they'll send you agreement, you're done. But if the ISO says no and it goes back to the third-party buyer, well, the very next step is the assignment agreement.
Right, and then they have to be in contact.
Because they're going to have to start, instead of paying you, they're going to be paying somebody else.
Right.
And there's a new agreement that has to be signed, the assignment agreement. We have a video just about that. So, there's a whole process that goes into that.
And you also need to be open. If you're dealing with a third party, you need to be open with the third party. Hey, I need to take this back to my ISO.
Of course.
And see what's going. See if they can give me a better offer. Any reputable third party is going to understand that and
you know what's really
qualms about it.
I hadn't even thought about this before, but it's funny. I actually have a really good personal example with this. So the company I did the last big buyout with, 2 times I think previous to this. Because there's not that many companies that do this, right? 2 times previous to that, I brought them a buyout. They gave me an offer, and I went back to the same company, and they actually matched or beat the offer and did the buyout. It was the 3rd time
that they
didn't, and it was because that company had gone through an acquisition. They'd been acquired, and the new company had different, more stringent guidelines of how much they would do a buyout for. And so things changed.
Sure.
And so that's really how it's going to be. A lot of times you may go to the third party and get an offer, and then the ISO may say, oh, we'll do that and we'll match it. And then the very next time, with the same kind of offer, they may say, we don't want to do it right now.
We're not interested.
So that's why it's so important to get that third party involved, I think, in the process.
And, once you select the right guy, the right company, they'll know what to do.
Right.
Don't know how to deal with your
ISO.
They will.
If you select a buyer and the buyer is like waiting on you to deal with the ISO and they don't want to talk to them and they don't know what to do.
You selected the wrong buyer.
You selected the wrong buyer. You want a buyer that's like, oh yeah, of course. Let me tell you how this works, and they're going to walk you through it and try to make it a smooth process. But back to patience,
you're gonna find. Yeah, and that's what you're going to find if you go to ccsalespro.com/buyout.
Sure.
We'll refer you to a trusted partner, a company that we know is going to do good by you.
Sure. But again, I think the other thing to emphasize at the very end of this video is patience again.
Patience.
It's going to take you 6 weeks to maybe even 8 weeks to close a buyout with a third party. And if you get in a hurry, you can probably find a terrible buyer that'll give you a terrible price.
Yeah, or you can, if you're in that much of a hurry, just sell it to your ISO, but you still aren't going to get the best deal.
No, if you're not leveraging another third party.
So I think the important, also, besides patience, it's like, plan this out.
Right.
Don't just wake up tomorrow morning and say, I'm going to sell my portfolio.
Right.
Plan it out, have a good plan, execute it, you'll be happy.
Awesome. Great stuff. Hey, everybody. This is the last video in this mini-series. We've enjoyed shooting it. We enjoyed writing the guide.
We did. And
please take advantage of it.
Please take advantage of it. Go to ccsalespro.com/buyout.
Have a great day.
Have a wonderful day.